Hey, I'm Hal Blood, and this series of films is going to be about a day on a track in the big woods of Maine. A lot of people think you just go out and get on a track and shoot a buck and that's it. But I got to tell you, it takes a lot of work, a lot of effort, and you got to keep persistent and be after it, because you got to go day after day, and eventually you'll have the right weather. You'll be on the right buck on the right day, and everything falls in place, and you'll get your chance at that buck. But these short films are just different days I've had on the track where it just didn't pan out. Things didn't come together, whether it was the weather or circumstances or that particular buck. But I never give up. I just keep going. I get up, get dressed every day, get out, find another track, and just keep after them bucks. And if you do it, you'll get results too. Don't give up. Well, it's muzzleloader season here in Maine. It's December 4th, and haven't been able to get out too much. I went a little bit yesterday afternoon and ended up seeing a smaller buck, but let him go. But I come back into some country I'd hunted earlier in the season there, and I was driving back to a mountain, and I cut a track in the road here this morning, but it's not last night's. It's 2 nights old, or at least like yesterday morning. And I got thinking about it. He went into this piece of woods that I could drive a block around. It's probably a piece about 2 miles by 3 miles, but he didn't come out. So this buck's in here in this piece of woods, so I'm going to take it even though it's 2 nights old. He's in this piece, so he's not all that far away. And the reason I know it's 2 nights is because yesterday it warmed up just a little bit, just barely got above freezing, and made the snow tacky, and then it froze back up, and there's just a little bit of light crust on top, and he hasn't broken that crust. You can see where it's rounded out from the warmth yesterday. So I'll show you that, and then got to get going. It's this time of year, muzzleloader season. A lot of time them big old bucks will just get into an area and stay a while and get rested up. They're pretty tired from running. So got a good day first thing in the morning. Got a little wind coming here, so maybe things will come together today. We'll see what can happen. Well, I've gone, I don't know, probably 2 miles, in the long piece, the long way. He came straight ahead, and then he just fed a little bit. He laid right down here, right in this open cut, so maybe he's gonna continue to do that. So we'll see how much the track freshens up here. We're still not to where it was like a last night's track, but we'll keep after him. I've gone, I don't know, at least another mile, but he's been zigzagging all the way. He's been searching for does around in here, and he stopped in here and laid down again in this little thicket. I think it's getting more towards last night here, so in the evening, so he started to feed a lot here, so maybe he's going to hang around fairly close to this area here. That's his front foot there. He's one of them old square-toed ones. Good one. Just come down off the ridge, and he's got into a cedar bog here. I'm gonna go real easy, even though this track now is made like late yesterday afternoon, maybe. Just stopped right here and really shined up a signpost rub here. He hammered it down pretty good. Well, it's come out of that cedar bog, and he's heading up this ridge. I know it's the last ridge before the road. There's a road over there, I don't know, less than a mile. This is where typically I would circle this ridge, but the track is still not made in the night yet, so I'm not gonna do that. I'm gonna bank on, I'm gonna come to another bed, and then gets up out of that bed, then it should be, made in the night, and I'll try to figure it out from there. But it's just kind of a classic spot. I'll show you this ridge here. Well, it's just before noon, and I just jumped this buck. I got a good look at it. I got a poke at it. I could just see it going out through the firs and stuff there. And he'd come up higher up in the mountain here, and I finally caught up where he laid down. Bed was still frozen. He got out of it and he started puttering. He went into some pretty thick firs, and he was just puttering around, and I said, you know what, I bet he's going to be right in here. So I was going easy, and sure enough, he jumped up. He went 30 yards from me, but it was thick in the firs there. I see a good jump, one broadside jump, and he got in behind some firs and he turned away, and I thought I could see a blur of him going straight away, so I tried it, but no good. So I'm going to give him a little time here and get after him again. He's a beautiful buck. I think he's a 10-pointer. He's got a really, really nice big rack. So needed the old pump gun today, but it's muzzleloader season, so I got some wind going for me. It's only noontime, so see what happens. So just goes to show you're on a 2-day-old track there. I caught up to him in probably 4.5 hours. But I've been going hard. I don't know how many miles I put on, but probably 6 or 7 miles anyways. I'll wait around and see what he does. Well, I get on this guy here. He's been running down off the mountain here. He got in my backtrack where I went up through, and that seemed to be where it spooked him the most. And now he's come down across the road here, and sometimes after they cross the road, they kind of feel relaxed or something. So keep after him. I just jumped him again. He got right in these thick winter beeches there and laid down. Wind had died down. He heard me coming, so as I stayed on him, and he ended up, I pushed him across the road I drove in on this morning, so I got him out of that piece. And I think I'll get back on his track in the morning. He's pretty tired. I think he's gonna go hole up for the night. I'm gonna come back and get right back on that track in the morning. Go home, get some rest, supper, back in shape. Gotta remember my leave tonight. Whew. Well, I got a good night's rest, and I drove back in here to where I left the track, but I tracked a buck here earlier in the season that kind of got a pattern of how these different bucks travel and cross. And there's a big ridge on this side of the road, and so I tried this other road, which was only, I don't know, half a mile down or less from where he crossed the other side road, and I'm about a mile from there. And I cut a track right here. It's got to be him. It's the same size track, and it's hurrying, so it makes sense that it's the same buck that came down through this piece up in here and is headed for this other ridge. So well, the old boy's not going where I thought he was going. I thought he was going to go up on that ridge I was familiar with over there. But he swung and he's headed off in a totally different direction. And he's got into an old track that's got snow in it. I'm not sure if it's his from a few days ago, or he's just following another old buck track along. In any event, I don't know if he's totally just getting out of the area, and he's kind of headed towards, the deer yard for the winter. I can't imagine he's going to go down that far right now, but I got a couple of mountains out here in front of me. Maybe he'll hole up in there. So Anyways, warming up. I'm gonna strip a shirt off and keep pounding along. Well, he got in, come in through some old choppings. There was a few deer in there, and a coyote actually got on it. He's been a coyote following him. I don't think that one coyote's gonna do much other than spook him if he catches up to him. But the buck is now following like two other deer tracks. I don't know. They're not very big. I don't know if it's a young buck or does or what they are, but they've crossed another little side road, goes up into some choppings, and he actually has veered off his straight line, and he's kind of circling in the general direction of where I picked him up yesterday morning. So maybe he's just going to make a big circle. I hope that's what he's intending on doing. But well, got about another hour into it, several miles, and this buck, unless he laid down in between them roads where I picked him up this morning, before he come out across that road, he hasn't done anything but force march. He hasn't fed, bedded, done anything, just a steady walk. He's periodically crossed some other deer tracks, and that coyote is still following it. It's kind of bothering me, because if he goes to rest and the coyote busts him out of there, he might run for miles again. So he's turned back. I thought he was circling, but it seems like he's turned back, and he may be headed towards that deer wintering area. I don't know. I'm gonna go a while longer, but if he's heading for there, I'll have to turn, because if he gets over in there, I'll never walk out in time. So, well, gone probably another mile, and he zigzagged around some other deer tracks, and the coyote actually left and got on them other deer tracks, I guess, but he veered off by himself and started zigzagging. He's come down. Well, I know where I am here. I've been here before, but there's a big cedar bog down in here, and he stopped just right on the edge of it, and he started to feed. So maybe this is where he's gonna hole up. So I'm gonna slow down and just go in here kind of easy. Well, he didn't feed at all down in there. He just come right through that bog and come out the other side. And I'm gonna stay on him. I got to the committed point now. I'm actually got figured out if I need to get out of here. There's an old logging road. I could walk back for miles if I need to, but too late to turn around now. I'm gonna just see what happens. I'm gonna keep on him. Yep, that's where I started yesterday, and the truck's almost over that way. So, but anyway, out in these choppings now, and I'm gonna keep going. He's slowing down now and just kind of walking. I'm sure he's gonna start feeding here pretty quick. At least I hope he does. I think he's slowed up in here. There's a pretty good bunch of deer in here. I just see 4 does, 2 pairs of does and their fawns out in them choppings. And he's come into this buffer strip in here. It's thick and a lot of blowdowns. And all the deer have been feeding in here. And I think there's another big one had come in here, so I'm trying to straighten it out. He's circled around in here and back and forth and feeding, so I'm just gonna poke around, see if I can't get this sorted out. I'd say this was probably the furthest I've ever taken a buck. I never would have guessed, but so anyways, especially during muzzleloader season, I wouldn't have thought he'd have done that. I thought he was going to be tired, but it's a strong old boy in his prime, and he's a good big old buck, so hopefully he makes the winter and maybe we can get after him next year. But over in this country, I'll never be able to find his track again. He's got down in these old cedar bogs and old regeneration. They are thick, so I'll try something else tomorrow. But anyway, amazing what them old boys will do.